Welcome to 33 Founders, a series about founders of the coolest startups. Brought to you by 33 Voices and hosted by Chase Jennings and Jenna Abdul.
Cool. Well, CoatChex has become a solution to the claim ticket problems we deal with in coat checking, bag checking, valet, dry cleaning. It's those annoying tickets you get that everyone loses, and because of it causes a lot of messiness in the operation of CoatChex of these services. And so what we've done, and our business focuses on eliminating those claim tickets, so making the process a lot more secure, giving people peace of mind, and making the operation a lot quicker. So allowing for people to check in and check out a lot faster, and in case anything happens to your belongings, there's proof of what you checked in and who you are. So a little background on the business. When I was in college, none of the bars, none of the nightclubs had CoatChex. It was one of those things where when we would go out, we would either decide, okay, we're all going to freeze in line for 10 to 20 minutes with no coat on, or you'd wear a coat and then you'd try to stash it somewhere at the bar or the nightclub, underneath the bench. For me, I put it underneath a hollowed out Christmas present that was underneath the tree, and I thought, oh, no one's going to find it if I shove it under here. And when I came back, it was gone. Someone had taken it, and I was really upset. I just got it. And so I was studying at school. I went to Indiana University. I was studying management entrepreneurship, and in one of my classes, we were trying to, things that bug you. And that was one of the things. If there's no code checking, and they're like, what are you going to do about it? And so I was like, I'm just going to go walk into these things and ask them why they don't have them. And they gave me all types of reasons. They didn't have the space. They didn't want to deal with it. They tried it before. It was too messy. So I asked if I could come in and service it myself. And they said, yeah, let's do it. I learned how to write up a contract, a service agreement, and I figured out, I gave them a kickback. So I said, if I made any money, I'd write you guys a check for a percentage of the revenue. And it kind of just took off. I put them in. At first, people didn't know it was there, but over time, when people started realizing it was there, I first started doing it complimentary. Then I started increasing the pricing to $1, $2, $3. I went to $4. People didn't like it when it was at $4, so I went back to $3. But it was a big hit. We made about $50,000 in 5 months just servicing code checking, and in college on the side. That's a nice little present. So after college, I had to decide if I was going to take a consulting job or was I going to try to expand this business. And the biggest problem was not only it's a cash business, so to track your money and stuff, but there were all the problems with the claims, with the misplacements, with people just getting aggravated with long lines. And the thing I hated most, my biggest pet peeve with the whole operation, and the reason why I realized no one likes providing code checking was you have no control over the items because you have no idea who they belong to. You're just kind of trusting people and you're handing them back and you're trying to do it really quickly. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could just eliminate these tickets, take pictures of people, take pictures of their items, and match them and do it quickly. And so we built an app that literally the way it works is when you come up to a station, your phone number is your ticket. When you put in your phone number, the front camera takes a picture of you, the back camera on the iPads. We have QR codes on the hangers, and we scan them in. So we just kind of put them up, it beeps them in, and then that identifies into the number, and that's how we organize. And so it kind of, we got on Shark Tank. I pitched to Shark Tank saying, Mark Cuban went to IU, I went to IU, we're both in technology. One day I'm going to be like Mark Cuban, and then they bid on that, I guess, and they sent me out there, and then we pitched on the show. And then after that, tons of leads came in from all these people that wanted it. And, since then we've moved to New York City. We landed a big contract here last February. We serviced Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, which was, just a huge opportunity for us. And so we realized that being in a very large city where everyone has to take public transportation is really the biggest opportunity from the sales side to go land contracts. So we moved the company here. I think April 1st was our moving date. And since then we've been, working on expanding contracts. And we've been doing more than just code checking. We've built an app called Bag Checks where we do bag checking, and it's really kind of complemented our winter business code checking. We've done cool events like tomato battle in Brooklyn where 5,000 people came and started throwing tomatoes at each other. We've done like color runs and races and corporate events, fact checking. So now the goal of the business is to get it to a point where we're right now only servicing it ourselves, and we have a couple partners where we let them use the technology for their businesses, but we want to get it to a point where it's a SaaS business, or software as a service, where anyone can just download the app and get rid of their phone business and put it. So that's sort of in a nutshell history, what we're doing, where we're trying to go.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you guys were on Shark Tank, and I know everyone knows that, and our viewers will be really excited to hear from the guy who made one of the most controversial decisions in Shark Tank history. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience on the show and how you created a great 5-minute video to make your way there?
Because I have a buddy right now who's going through the application process, so what advice would you give him to make the best 5-minute video?
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people ask me about, they want to apply to be on Shark Tank, and how do you get it noticed within 50,000 applications, or whatever it's at now. And you really have, they're looking for a story. So everyone submits cool business ideas. There's one thing to submit a cool business idea, and then there's one thing to actually have gotten some traction on your idea. So turning your idea into an actual business, whether it's, just making a couple prototypes and selling them, or going to some trade shows. They look for that you've actually had some traction in what you're doing, so it's more than just an idea. They're not so concerned about how you're going to make it the next billion-dollar business. They just want to know that it's a cool idea. They kind of see that it's an actual something that people would want, viewers of the show would want, but they're really looking for your story. What makes you interesting? Why will viewers fall in love with you and what you're trying to do? So you got to think about it as these are producers of the show that are kind of sourcing your resumes, or associate producers or assistants. And they're looking at it not from, is this a great business? Is this going to make billions of dollars? But will this person be able to be in front of, 8 million people and put on good TV? And will people buy into their story and what they're doing, and will people want their product? And so it's really hard in the application before you get to that 5-minute video, because you have to tell your story in words. So for me, the way I did it was the whole, hi, my name's Derek. I was 22 years old at the time. I went to IU. Mark Cuban went to IU. We both started business in college. We both started making money in college. I built this cool technology to change, disrupt the coat checking industry. And I described it, and it was real brief. My first application was maybe 5 sentences. And I didn't tell them much. I wanted them to have to call me. So my thought was maybe they're just going to be interested to hear more about me, and and then that's when I can really connect with someone. And so they did randomly. I was at a trade show. They called me. I told I really pitched my story, how I lost my coat and everything, and they just wanted to hear more. And so I think for anyone who's trying to apply on the show, you got to really figure out your story and your character.
And then even once you're on the show, you have to keep that up and keep being entertaining to even make the cut and get on air. I mean, you got on, let's fast forward to that, and you're throwing confetti. I loved it, nice touch. And then Mark Cuban offered you $200,000 for 33%, and you said no after being advised by your professor. And he said it was too early to give away that much equity, so you said no. But be honest with me, Derek, did you go in there with the premeditated notion of saying no?
No. So we went in there with a pre-valuation number. So we knew, sort of based on where our technology was, based on the other, so there was already a lot of interest from investors. And so we kind of had already marketed what our valuation of our company was. And it was really early. So the players we needed were people that were going to be able to be there day to day. There's no question if Mark Cuban had given an offer that was, fair to what our, the valuation of our company was, we were willing. I was, he'd be like the best investor to have in the company for what we're doing. But you can't discount your, this early on to give away that much of your company. It doesn't, for that little amount of money when you're in the technology sector, you really can't, it's going to be too hard for us to scale while holding on to ownership of founders. So for me, we'd already known going in there that we weren't going to take a deal less than, I think at the time it was about 1.5 mil, unless there were certain terms on that kind of made it flexible. So it just was kind of, it was tough because I really wanted to make a deal with Mark, but we just couldn't agree on valuation on air. So.
How did that experience help you guys with brand awareness and credibility?
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't help to be known as the man who turned down Cuban.
Yeah, well, it actually, it was interesting because at first I was like, oh, they're gonna, I'm gonna get rocked by friends, by media, whatever. But it's actually led to a lot of, I think if I had said yes to Mark Cuban, the story would have ended there. It was the happy ending. Oh, he's deal with Mark Cuban, he's gonna be fine. But I think a lot of people are now curious to know what's going on with the business, and we've had a lot of, we were just in Forbes this month, and we were just Entrepreneur the month before, and so there's a lot of follow-up press that has actually got us more exposure because I'm somewhere, which was something at first I didn't even really think about, but it's really something where now I have something to prove. I got to go out there with my investment right now and really turn it into a multi-million-dollar business. But there's nothing to say. Mark and I have kept in touch that he's someone who at the right timing could come into this business and help scale it. So it's just all about timing. We went in there. I just built a prototype. My biggest concern was going on air, and then my application not working. So it was early, but you don't skip out on an opportunity to put your brand in front of people.
Right, and I mean, the whole thing was a huge learning experience too, because you went in there, I remember you saying you thought you saw everything from every angle and you had everything worked out, but then he started saying horrible, because you hadn't tested your technology, so it really helps you to look outside the box more. How are you reminding yourself today to look outside the box more?
Yeah, there's no question. When I first started this business, I had this end vision of exactly how it was going to work. More of a dream as opposed to actual, this is how it works in real life. Because, I had run an operational based business and I saw it work, and I just didn't understand the implications of technology, how long it takes to build good technology and clean technology. So I think right now the biggest thing is, I brought in a lot of advisors, a lot of really smart people in the tech space, in the event space, just kind of in my industry to help guide me for all my big questions. So, anytime a big opportunity comes in, or we want to shift direction or pivot a little bit, I reach out to all my advisors and I, pick their brains. And before, it was something I wasn't doing as much. But you learn that it's all about surrounding yourself with really smart people, especially when you're young like I am. It's my first go around. So that was the learning, that was sort of the big smash. It's like, wow, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about, because they're predicting things way down the road that, I'm now realizing, and, it's having the advice of all these advisors that are constantly always correct about what's going to be happening 4 or 5 months down the road. That's been really, really helpful.
What's the most important quality, Derek, that you look for when you're seeking mentors and partners?
I think it's honest feedback and time. So someone who's able to literally just call me out for this, Derek, I don't think this is right, and is able to talk me through it and put time into it, because a lot of the advisors I seek out are really, really busy, and so finding the ones that are really committed and passionate about what I'm doing is also really important to me. So someone who is able to really think through it and not just give kind of half thought out advice. So for me, it's just people who have time and who are able to be honest.
So when you get that feedback from your advisors, and maybe you have a great idea and they say, you know what, Derek, we don't love it, it's not going to do well in the future, how do you let go of that idea and just think they have my best interest in mind? Or do you think, hey, CoatChex is my baby, I'm going to go for it?
Yeah, so that was tough at first. But as you kind of, it's data, right? So if you ask 10 people what you think the best decision is, especially 10 smart people, and 7 of them think, it's to go this direction, 3 think to go that, most likely going that 7th person direction is the way to go. But you got to understand, with a startup, it's a lot vision based as well. So there's just times you got to make the call based on my vision. Otherwise, you're not disrupting as hard. So, it's always risk versus stability, I guess. And so being able to judge in every decision, are you going to take that hard risk? And it might not turn out, as safe as some people want to go. But, that's the thing with new businesses, is especially in the tech world, is you got to take a lot of risks and you got to kind of, take deals that, you don't even know if you can handle. But you work at it and you have the best people around you and you make it work every time.
So let's go back to talking about data for a little bit. You love data and it's a huge selling point for your company. But with things like the recent Snowden NSA leak, I feel like people are getting really paranoid about data and releasing everything. So, I mean, I could picture some people refusing to use CoatChex because they don't want to give away their phone number or something. So let's say this happens. How do you quickly and clearly convey that your product isn't invasive? And how do you still appease both sides of the situation, both the business owner and the user?
Yeah. So, there's the big issue. It's privacy. So data is one thing. Data is great. But the biggest concern is how to protect data and how to keep it private, and how to use it in the ways that consumers want it to be used. So our generation is a lot more lax with giving out data because their data is everywhere. But when we do events with the older generation, sometimes we get a lot of skepticism on, oh, why am I giving you my phone number? So what we do is we tell them essentially that your phone number is completely private. The only reason why we collect it is if you forget your stuff, we can call you, get it back to you, and it's to protect your item. If you don't want to give us your phone number, we'll take your initials. So, they're not required to put in a phone number, but it's for them. It's something where every event we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 items that are just people forget to pick up their umbrellas or their bag or their coat. They just forgot that they checked it in. And for us as dealing in the back end, claims is a huge part of the business of getting people items back. So when you kind of are clear to them that it's going to stay private and it's going to be stuff away. And then for us, if we want to use that data, so we're able to analyze it and create profiles that aren't actually telling us anything about that person, but are telling us more about the overall health within a business. But if people want to give away their personal data to a business for promotion. So let's say, come in and you come into the bar and you want to get a discount for being here and being a loyal customer. And you know that if you just give them your phone number, they can text you right as you come in, telling you all the specials and all the discounts you get for being a loyal customer. And as you leave, they can thank you for coming and give you something else, right? And that's the only time you get hit with that. People are willing to give away their personal data for incentives. And it's figuring out what those incentives are and not to push people and make sure it benefits them. So for us, it's just, that's going to be a big issue. How do we control the public data versus private data and releasing it to, the marketing groups and the bank companies.
I want to shift gears for a second and go back, Derek, to talking about when you first started out. Your advice to young entrepreneurs is just go out and try it, see what happens. A lot of times it's scary to do that. Do you have any good tips or good resources that you used back when you were in college that really helped you get your startup out there?
Yeah, so to kind of get rid of that scary feeling of going out and doing, a big help is just to talk to a lot of people. So a lot of people think it's great to keep your ideas super secret and not tell anyone. My advice is don't do that. Go out to trusted friends and family and mentors and pitch your idea to them. And if you're getting a lot of feedback that that's a great idea and a lot of people that go, I'd pay for that, then it's probably a good idea to go try it. So getting the assurance of people around you, close family, friends, and even just anyone you trust, I recommend sharing that idea and even kind of bouncing ideas around it because that will help you figure out the best plan of attack to go out and get going. And so that's my advice. Go out to friends and family that have started businesses, that are in businesses, that are understanding of the field you're trying to get into, and just ask questions until you feel comfortable getting going. But yeah, that's one thing to be an entrepreneur. You've got to be able to take risks, hands down. So if you're very risk averse and you're not able to change, then it's probably not the best idea to go out and try to start.
And just like you said, it helps a lot when you have other people who are behind you, who support your idea, so it kind of keeps your vision in line when times get tough and maybe you're doubting yourself. If you're running a lean startup, when do you know, hey, it's time to bring people in? I can't do all of this by myself.
Because just an excellent manager really knows when to step out of the way and delegate. And we saw that you did this when you realized that you're best with sales and to bring in an operations and technical person?
Yeah, and that's really when it comes down to it, is when you realize you're failing at critical parts of the business. So I was trying to manage the entire tech build of our application. I was good at visioning sort of the front end, how the app would work, like the process of it. But when it came to actually making it work in real time and dealing with the back end, I had no experience. And so I was trying to manage a bunch of consultants and contractors to build it out. But it wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to be. And so it was really at that point when I was just really down about not having a product that I could sell, that I was proud to sell, was when I realized maybe if I just bring someone on and let them take ownership of that part of the business, I would feel a lot more comfortable focusing on what I'm good at, selling and, kind of seeing what customers want and adapting. And then same thing with operations. I'm not very detailed. I don't like grinding into the details. And so I knew someone who was going to be dealing with operations. Sure we were very cost effective. It'd be good to bring someone in to handle that. And so kind of complementing yourself and surrounding yourself with people that are diverse from a skill set, but also from a knowledge base is very helpful in the business. It keeps you on your toes, and it kind of keeps the ideas very broad. So thinking from all angles. And and as I grow, my job is becoming a lot more managing the entire business, and the idea to kind of managing a team. And letting them kind of do what they do best and making sure everyone's kind of on the same page. So it's interesting how that changes very quickly, but it's fun, and you just got to adapt if you want to grow. So.
Right. Well, hey, we can all tell how it's really helping your company, and you're prospering on that side, and also in terms of social media and everything too. I was going through your Twitter comments, and I actually started laughing. I saw somebody just randomly posted an advertisement for their CoatChex company. And then you guys came in and replied to them saying, no, check out our CoatChex company. So, I mean, beyond your confidence, you guys also have a pretty loving community. Like, people will come in and tweet to you guys some overlooked opportunities. You just have diehard fans of what you do. So how did you start building your community? Because 10 years ago, it would have seemed so strange to be fans of a CoatChex company. But now I don't even have the ability to check my code or anything, but now I'm a fan, so...
Yeah, it's the story. I think people want to see other people succeed. People are always rooting for the underdog, and I think we are always, our whole social media, our whole strategy around social media is inspiration. And how do you get people who, I think the people that would want to follow an unsexy coat checking business are the people who want to see, something succeed from nothing, right? And so, are those other people that are maybe trying to start their own businesses or have dealt with the same problems and want to see it solved. We try to grab people and inspire them through what we do, and kind of motivate people through social media and through our stories and through stories of others. And I think that's kind of helped build our following. Is we've kind of focused away from learn about CoatChex, and CoatChex is really awesome, and more towards this is our story, this is how we're making CoatChex cool, this is how we are working towards solving a problem. And if you're inspired and you're motivated and you work hard, you can do it too. And so we're constantly shooting out content surrounding motivating people and quotes about working hard and good articles and good advice. And I think that's helped from a social media standpoint. It's not just to focus on our business, but on our culture and who we are as a team and what we're trying to do from an entrepreneurship side as opposed to just culture.
Well, something that I saw you post too that really defines who you are is a quote by, I think it was by Alan Kay, and it said, the best way to predict the future is to invent it. So where do you predict CoatChex will be in 2015?
Oh, I think by 2015, you'll see a couple cities that when they go into a venue and they're given a claim ticket, they're going to look at it and go, what, you guys still in the 18th century? And throw it behind their back. I want people to just by that point, to just feel that this is what should be standard. And so that's my goal for 2015, to get areas to really go into a place and be shocked that people are still giving out claim tickets.